Hi guys, this is Miss Teal. I'm about to show you what all you need to do to make your very first journal entry. So this is the end result. This is what you want it to look like when you get done, just so you kind of have an idea of what it is that we're doing. The supplies that you will need are a glue stick, unless you prefer tape, but a glue stick will do the trick. You need 3 different color markers. I chose red, blue, and green. It doesn't really matter what you choose. You need a pencil and 4 of these little deals. These are called Frayer models, so those should be located at the back of the room in a bag with your name on it, so make sure that you pick one of those up from the back of the classroom. And then you will also need your journal that you got from me in class, so make sure that you have that available too. So this is all gonna go on the very first page of your journal. Okay, now the next thing you want to do is take these Frayer models that I gave you. You can take all 4 of them and fold them in half. I guess that would be hot dog style if you're keeping track of that. So I'm going to do that to all 4 of these. And I'm doing it one-handed, so it may not turn out beautifully, but you get my point. Here's the second one. And here's the third one. And there's my last one. Alright, so I did that. And now I'm going to take them and kind of put them over here on the right side of the journal, because I need the left side to write on. So I did that. And that looks pretty good. So remember, this is that's our goal, okay? So here's where we're at right now. So now I'm going to get my glue stick and glue each of these down. So there's the first one, and I glue him back down. And there's my second one. I'm going to glue him down. I need more glue. Here's my third one. I'm going to glue it down. And then my fourth one. And glue it down. Okay, so I have all 4 of them glued down. It's important that you glued them down so that you can actually read the words. So make sure that you can see the words definition here, and then characteristics, examples, non-examples. So make sure it's right side up. You don't want to glue anything upside down. Okay, so you have your 4 flappies right here. At the very top of your page, you're going to put the title of the notes. So the title of the notes for this one is 1.1, and it's going to be evaluating expressions. So that's our title. And then take another color. And these 3 guys, you're going to draw a little bracket going to each of those 3. And the reason that we put a bracket around these 3 is because they are the parts of an expression. Alright, now on each of the top 3 flaps, there's a couple words you need to write down. So on the top one, write the word variable. On the second one, write the word constant. On the third one, write the word coefficient. And then on the last one, you're going to change colors, and you're going to write the word expression. All right, and then you're all set to go for the lecture. Okay, so what you have so far are your 4 flaps with the words on them. And I'm going to show you what you need to write inside each flap. So this first one right here, we have the word variable. And in this first box, we're going to put a definition for the word variable. So a variable is a symbol that represents a number. Some characteristics of a variable is that it's usually a letter. Not always. It can be something else. Sometimes it might be a symbol, like a triangle, or something weird like a picture, but usually is a letter. And the most common letters that we use in Algebra 1 are X, Y, A, and B. And some things that are not variables would be numbers, like 5 and 19. Those are fixed values. Those are not variables. And pi is a symbol, but it's not a variable because it represents a specific value. It represents 3.14 or 22/7. So pi is not a variable. All right, so that's the variable flap. Okay, your next flap is constant. So on the constant flap, the definition for the word constant is that it's a value that does not change. It is constant, which is why it's called that. A good thing to know about constants is that constants are numbers, not variables. So only a number can be a constant. In fact, up until this point, your math has pretty much been only dealing with constants, even though your teacher may have not called it that. Or probably did not call it that, in fact. So some examples of constants might be the number 3 and the number 42. Some other ones that we had discussions about in class were the fact that numbers like 3/4 and also numbers like -2.85, those can also be constants. So it's not just whole numbers, it's positive, negative, and anything in between. It can be decimals, it can be fractions, it just can't have a letter. So some non-examples over here. 2x is not a constant because of the x. So a constant can only be a number, it cannot have a variable attached to it. A is not a constant, A is a variable. So we could substitute numbers in for A. A could represent almost anything. So it's a variable. Okay, on your next flap, you have the word coefficient. A coefficient is a number. All right, the next word we have is for the on the flap is the coefficient. And here's what you need to know about a coefficient. The definition is that it's a number multiplied by a variable. So keyword here is number. A coefficient is a number, but it has to be multiplied by a variable. It's a number with a variable is one of the characteristics. It's squished together with it. So, for example, in the term 3a, 3 is the coefficient of a. And in the term 18x, 18 is the coefficient of x. So here are some non-examples of coefficients. Y is not a coefficient because it doesn't have a number in front of it. 15 is not a coefficient, it's a constant. The only way that it could be a coefficient would be as if it had a variable attached to it, but it doesn't, so we don't have a coefficient there. And then our last flap is for the word expression. Okay, so you're going to write it here in the bubble. And the definition for the word expression is that it is a mathematical phrase. And it's a mathematical phrase that includes numbers, variables, and operation symbols. So you'll notice over here to the side, variables, constant, and coefficient. Those are all parts of an expression. So I went ahead and made a little bracket here to remind myself that the variable, the constant, and the coefficient are all parts of an expression, which is what this box right here says. And these are all examples of expressions: x plus 2, 3x squared plus 2, 5x, and a plus b. Non-examples, 1/2 is not an expression because it's just a constant. It doesn't have any operation symbols or any variables attached to it, so it is not. And same thing with 15. No operation symbols, no variables, so it is not an expression.